Now, final evacuations have resumed from Kabul Airport following devastating twin bomb attacks. The attacks targeted people queuing to flee the country after Taliban militants returned to power. 90 people have been killed, mostly Afghan civilians and 13 U.S. military personnel. The question now is, what kind of reaction will there be from U.S. President Joe Biden? Let's speak about the political ramifications now with Professor Yossi Mekelberg, who is a professor of international relations and an associate fellow of the Middle East and North Africa program at Chatham House. Prof, thank you so much for making time on the lead this afternoon. Joe Biden responding yesterday and saying that we are going to hunt down the people that are responsible for this, and we are going to respond with force. But the reality now is he's faced with a tough situation, right? He has to decide, do I send more forces, extend the evacuation process, because that deadline is nearing?
Well, President Biden's response is what you would expect him to say at this point. The atrocity was committed there, and that's, what you would expect after the killing of 13 soldiers, troops, American troops, and then scores of Afghani, that he would say that. But again, I think we've been in this story of revenging and revenging for revenging. This is not solving anything. And yes, I'm sure the United States will find a way to get the intelligence and go after the people that committed the atrocity yesterday. They managed to find Osama bin Laden years ago. But this is not the point. The point is what is left now of Afghanistan, what's happening to the more than 30 million Afghanis that will be under Taliban. That's the question. Also from the United States point of view, its credibility among its allies and its deterrence among its enemies.
Yeah, is it an option for the U.S. to extend that 31st deadline? The Taliban has already indicated that if the U.S. does that, they would be crossing the line. And I've been seeing some world leaders have been trying to urge the U.S. to extend that deadline so it can get as many people out of Afghan as possible. Is that an option, or could that even bring about more tensions?
Well, in principle, it's an option. Operationally, the United States could change its mind, but it doesn't seem they're going to be that. I think the administration in Washington right now is very determined that time is up, and it's time to leave whatever the cost. This was decided some time ago, and of course the price again will be by those who probably should have been evacuated or not evacuated, and the rest of the Afghani people will see what's going to happen, which direction Afghanistan is taken under the Taliban rule, again 20 years later. But I think there is no appetite for the United States to send back more forces. But the problem with this, it's seen by everyone as the United States is on the run and actually responding to a Taliban diktat. So the most powerful military in the world is on the run, while it's basically on the run from a military force that looks more as a militia than an organized army.
Yeah. What do you make of how world leaders and some countries have responded to this posture by the Taliban that we are a matured force? We are not an organization that was ruling 20 years ago. We are matured, we are more modern, and we are going to respect human rights. I mean, some organizations, I was listening to someone from the European Union saying, well, I think it was the UK president, in fact, UK Prime Minister, who said, well, let's not judge the Taliban yet. Do you get a sense that people are buying into this idea of this terrorist organization as a more matured party?
Maybe it's wishful thinking. I don't know, but at the end of the day, we'll find out very quickly. Has it changed enough? I have my doubts. I think many of us have our doubts. But here they are on the 31st of August, which is a matter of 4 days. There won't be Western troops anymore in Afghanistan. Most of Afghanistan will be under the Taliban control, definitely Kabul. And if they change in these 20 years, if it became more moderate, more modern, as you put it, here is their time and space to prove it. But it's the onus is on them. Words are easy, but how you translate it. Of course, I'm worried when I hear that women are asked to stay at home for their own protection. Protection from whom? If they have to be protected, this is the case is for men. So let them make sure that men don't hurt women. How they're going to be allowed to work and go to school is what was the little that it, maybe it's not as little, but whatever has been achieved in the last 20 years, is it going to be preserved, or we are going more to what happened between 1996 and 2001? And that's I think where the world should really watch and make sure that, because after 20 years of being there, there's responsibility to hold the Taliban account if there are gross violations of human rights.
Yeah. What do you make of how, in fact, what's going to be the impact on brand USA and also brand Joe Biden on how this has been executed? Because there's no doubt the agreement was signed. It's always been a plan to withdraw the U.S. Army from Afghanistan by this specific date. But the question has been how it was executed. How do you think that has affected Joe Biden's presidency?
Well, it being brand USA right now, and sadly also Biden being traded in Wall Street today, I think there won't be many takers. It will be on the decline. It lost completely credibility. I think some of the things that President Biden said in recent days are regrettable, and I'm sure he will look at it in the future and question himself, reflect on it. Saying that the United States didn't enter into Afghanistan for nation building, that's not correct. Entering and doing what the United States and its allies did, and then to leave in the way that it left. I'm not suggesting that it could stay there forever, but living in such chaos and on the run, that's won't add to brand USA. And I think allies around the world would ask themselves whether they can rely on the United States as a strong ally. Maybe there is a silver lining there that countries will learn more to rely on themselves instead of expecting the United States or NATO to come to their rescue. But it's definitely because, I don't know if irreversible damage, but damage that will take many, many years to recuperate from it.